Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we're going to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh,
Or Ba'ashem.
Yahweh Shai,
Shai. Ba'ashem Kakadash.
uh, as always, double honors to our apostles, bishops, and elders, a great most honorable well, and taught us His truth. Double honors to them, and honors and shalom, and peace to the brethren of the elect, and the multitude of the elect, man. Shalom. And
Shalom. Shalom.
um, I'm here with a brother Rotazar Amoth. We're from the
Shalom.
GMS UK camp, and yeah, today's lesson, Lord willing, will be an exhortational lesson. What we wanted to do is go into, because the times that we're coming into, we're in a time of end time prophecy, okay, end of days in terms of Esau's kingdom, all right, and which is the beginning of our kingdom. Okay, it's going to be Jacob's trouble, a time like never before, as it says in Daniel 12:1. It's going to be the great judgment of the Lord, you know,
Mm.
and part of that is going to be famines, okay,
Uh-huh.
uh, and Esau being the devil he is, you know, he's going to be making, man-made famines. He's going to be squeezing certain. He's going to be squeezing certain. What's the word? Like, you got a machine and you got the knobs. You
Mm.
know,
Levers.
levers. He's going to be moving certain things to squeeze the people into harsher situations. That's what he's
Yep.
doing.
Yep.
And the reason he's doing that is because he wants the people in the world to be chipped. He wants them to take a microchip, and
Yeah.
that's prophecy. Was you
Yeah.
gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna build off what you're saying because it's like when you're looking at this Iran situation, the fact that the farmers have basically missed planting season, right? Once again, I feel like Amazon should be giving me commission at this point. But when you watch Clarkson's farm, right, it ain't really about whether you like him or not, right? But when you watch Clarkson's farm, right, it really goes into that whole thing about farming,
Hmm.
about how like even bad weather, and that's one of the things that it really comes to mind when you watch that show is for several years in a row there's been issues, whether it's what's usually been a lot of weather related stuff where it's been too wet to plant at the right time, right? So you've got a lot of farmers that were through before this, right? And the fact that a lot of farmers didn't get the fertilizer or enough fertilizer in the amount of in the window, because it's all about windows when it comes to farming. It's all about windows, right? Because they weren't able to do that because of the price of oil, but fertilizer, and then even just physically the fact that the fertilizer not being in the right place, right? You have a lot. We're gonna see the downstream effects of that. Not now, and that's the thing. People don't realize about how these systems work, right? Because it ain't necessarily now, right? This is gonna affect the next harvest, and then if it's not the next harvest, you're gonna have some farmers who just ain't gonna. They're not. They're already on the edge, and this is the thing that pushed them over the edge. The losses will be too high, and they got to sell up, right? And then man like William can come in, right, and buy up the farms as he's been doing all over America.
What if they don't want to sell up and then they want to pass it on to the next generation? Well, now they got to deal with tax.
Tax, yeah.
They're an 80-year-old farmer, and they want to pass everything over to their son or something. You got a tax now on the farmers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's why you always got these tractors coming into, and that's not just England. It's different places all around
Hmm.
America, France. You see them going and doing what? Protests,
Yeah.
upwards of the people. No, and at least we forget these are all building up. We can't forget about the planes going into food factories, trains derailing and putting.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Ohio, Bill Bill Hell Gates, um, buying up all the farmland. The government buying up farmland. Everything that they're doing is adding towards
Mhm.
squeeze.
Yeah. Got a
Adding.
piece of you.
Oh, I had one as well. Yeah, go on. You go on.
You go for you guys.
This is Second Esdras 15 and 13. They that till the ground. Okay, who tills the ground? Farmers, right? They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blast
Mm,
of hail and with a fearful consolation. So crops are gonna fail, man.
that's it.
So crops are gonna fail, and that ain't gonna help because first of all, another thing is that there's a lot of countries with that we get food from, okay, where there's sanctions, there's transport problems. Okay, if you got, how do you transport food? You need oil, okay, ships, trucks.
Mhm.
When the prices of that goes up, the price of the food goes up, everything goes up, you know. So he's putting a squeeze. Now, ultimately, the thing that this is going to lead up to is the chip, which we're going to get in a second. All right, to show you where this is going. But the purpose of this lesson, Lord willing, is to bolster the faith of the elect, which the elect are going to be okay anyway. We're of the hopeful elect. And those of you that are watching that might be, new, or you might be thinking, well, what am I going to do in that time when I believe these things are going to happen? Well, trust in Yahweh Shmi Shai, and we're going to give you many examples in the scriptures when the Lord helped those in need, especially in times of famine that are coming. You said you had a
That's it.
precept.
I've got two now.
Right.
Let me grab this just on what you said, right? This is Second Ezra's 40 and Sirach, bro. Sirach 40 from 9. It says death and bloodshed, strife, sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. Right, and we're wanting to get that because you made a good point. In the flesh, right? Maybe oh, what if this happens? Or, but that's the flesh, right? The flesh is trying to think flesh is trying to fit. I think carnally, right? But spiritually, it's like all of these things are gonna come, right? But they're coming from for the wicked, the destruction and the judgment, right, of this world is for the wicked, right? The Lord has basically prepared a way for his elect, you know?
Yeah. So you had another one, right?
Yep. This is the second Ezra 6 and 22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, right? And on building on what you were saying, it's like when you're looking at everything that's happening in the world right now, right? Not only are the farmers going to have issues farming, right? But then the physical cost of moving those goods around is gonna go up, right? And this is it. So, when you're listening to a lot of the analyses happening right now, right? People think, yay, the straits are open, which is closed again. But yay, the straits are open. Prices are gonna go back down. It's like no. The physical terminals, a lot of terminals have been destroyed. Maybe not destroyed, but damaged, right? Which basically means certain areas have had to lower their gas output, right? They've had to lower their what's this word? Their oil output, right? And then there are places where that have actually taken damage. Okay, so what we're witnessing is basically systems where it's like it's gonna actually take several months and years to rebuild these terminals, which means it's gonna be a shortfall for a very long time.
Which adds to the squeeze. You know.
That's it.
I had a precept. Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 5. It says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
Mm,
So that's crazy judgment, man. We mentioned earlier Jacob's trouble, Daniel's 12 and 1 as well, a time like never before. Okay, that's the time that we're going into. Okay. Um, and pretty much where it's really it's already ramping up, but it's gonna ramp up even more.
mm,
And you know, one of the ways that Esau and these secret societies and how they rule, how they have control is one of the things is order ab chaos.
yes, sir.
They bring order out of the chaos that they create, to bring forth what they want to achieve. So unless you had any presets up, can we go from here to Revelation 13?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the thing that they want to achieve. This is their goal, all right? Because they want to achieve setting up their new world order, and this is the key to that. Okay. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, we've done many, many lessons starting with our apostles on going into the mark and why that precept goes into what the microchip implant is. Okay. I'm not going to go into detail in this lesson. You can check out other lessons. But because it's such a pertinent prophecy and how important it is to what's happening and what's to come, this is the next thing. Okay. All that's happening in Iran and this and that. Ultimately, this World War III is going to lead to the nuclear missiles being shot at America. Okay, World War III and Israel too, but main place is going to be America. Now, before that, this prophecy has to come to pass. Okay, it says to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So this is going to be a transactional thing. This implant is going to have like a wallet on it. It's going to have your credit on it in a sense. And without that, you are not going to be able to go and purchase food, drinks, provision. Okay. You ain't going to be able to work. You ain't going to be able to store, have money, none of that. So the only way that you're going to be able to survive. Okay. Now you're going to have people that are going to be going up into the mountains and trying to, do that survival shit. But the scriptures even say that they're going to have to come down from the mountains, man.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're going to have to go and get some kind of resources. All right. And there's going to be people looting and things like that. There's all that's going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, we're going to be looked after. When I say we are the hopeful elect of the household of faith. All right. We're not going to have to go mad and this and that. The Lord is just going to provide. The Lord is going to make ways where we're going to be looked after. When we were in the wilderness, okay, we didn't have to, like the people, our people were basically complaining. And you always got Jake that complained. You had our people that was complaining to Moses, all right? And Moses basically, the Lord told Moses, look, all right, man, I'm going to give them quails. I'm going to give them manna from heaven. I'm going to give this, break the rock. I'm going to give them water. Okay? So, yeah, go on.
So, I just, the thing that just came to mind was, scripture says that Esau wants to be like the Most High, right?
Mhm.
He's trying to basically create this food that has all the nutrients that you need. But that was the manna from heaven,
Right?
right? The manna had everything that you needed, right? And it was each man had his portion, right? You remember it was like, yeah, whatever a man picked up that was enough for him,
Yeah.
it sustained them, and that's what Esau's trying to do on the left-hand side. In
That
the
was
scriptures.
spiritual food. Sorry, Salakia. Yeah.
No, you got it, brother.
But that was spiritual because if you took too much, it would spoil.
Exactly.
The Lord had it where everyone got, like you said, everyone got what they needed.
Yeah.
The Lord will provide what you need. If you are a member of the elect and you got a household of 10 people in your family, you got 7, 8 kids. All right. Scriptures talk about, the family in childbirth. They're going to be looked after.
That's it.
The Lord will provide. I remember
got a precept on that afterwards.
Yeah, quick testimony. I remember there was a morning I got a phone call from the brother Carl By, and I had brothers staying over at my house. Okay, I didn't have a lot of food in the house at the time, I believe, from what I remember. Okay, he called me early in the morning, and then he was excited and he was like, "Hey, hey man, listen, I got some chicken or something." He's like, "Should I get some chicken? I got some chicken for you." I was like, "What?"
Good.
I was like, "All right, yeah, come." And then he basically came over. And then he said he ran into these guys and they were like selling this chicken. Like there's a whole box of chickens, bro, for like £10. And I had brothers over. And everyone got to eat. Everyone got to eat good. Good, healthy. There was nice, fresh chickens. Nothing wrong with them. And I looked at that. That was spiritual. The Lord had it. And that brother, he was out and about. And then the Lord had it where he ran into that situation, got the chicken, and then through the Spirit, he went to help the brethren with it, and it's going to be like that in that time. There's going to be even more miraculous things where, you can even be with other brethren, other members of the elect, families, whatever, okay, or you just your immediate, whoever, or even on your own, you will be looked after and you will be provided for.
Mm.
You know, that's the aim of what I'm trying to convey in this lesson. You know, I had a preset after you, bro. I know you said you had one.
Yeah. Just on what you had said, bro. This is Acts 16 and 30. It says, and brought them out and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, Believe on the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and thou shalt be saved and thy house.
Oh yeah, straight to the point. So you covered it. That, and thy house. You know, and then what did it say? Believe. So it's about faith. You know, because ultimately that's what it's going to come down to. Okay, so you got these cats out there, you know, calling themselves, which they're Israelites, obviously. All right, but you know, teaching about, you know, who we are, and that's all good. They're teaching out who we are in a nation and stuff like that, yeah. But when it comes to the microchip implant, they're not warning the people. So when that does come out and they can't buy or sell, okay, and their stomach's rumbling, they can't go to the job no more, okay, their kids starving, their wife's shouting at them, "Wow, what are you gonna do about this situation?" You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna end up taking that chip because they're gonna be double-minded. They ain't gonna be sure. I know Great Millstone said, "Oh, you know, condemned." You got to be
Mm.
sure about this thing. You know, the sure word of prophecy. We're sure about what we believe in and what we're teaching. That's belief. We have faith. You know, and it's the faith that's gonna bring us through because we're so sure of what this is. We're surely guarded against what's gonna happen. So we know that even if it means death, even if it's whatever trial it might be, we're not going to take that, you know. But the thing is, the beautiful thing is, there's many scriptures which we're going to get where the Lord is going to actually look after us and sustain us in that time. Now, I had a precept.
Mm.
This is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." Okay, so the things that were written for our learning, when you study these scriptures, you read the different accounts, okay, of the great men that had the faith, great, even you know, women that had faith. You had different, you know, examples. The point is that this is written for our learning, that we
Mm.
through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So that's comforting. It's comforting to know what's going to come down the pipeline. It's comforting to know how to prepare yourself mentally. Okay,
Can
you know.
can I get one of these presets said
Yeah,
that was
yeah, you got people out there that said, how are you gonna eat? Do you not read the scriptures, man? You never heard of Elijah? You never heard of Yahushua breaking the loaves and the bread, the loaves and the fish? Come on, man. You had a precept, bro. And after that, let's
it's
get
like yeah.
accounts. Maybe you know, maybe get could even get the manna. We mentioned the manna from heaven, but could get that. I really want to get Elijah when
Mhm.
when he's fleeing and he's out in the wilderness, and also
Yeah.
and Yahushua, you know, because Yahushua did miracles on the food, you know.
Can. Yeah, I think yeah, the Elijah one there's a lot in there because you've got the two stories side by side.
Yeah.
He's fed by ravens, and then the oil and the flour that never ran out.
Was it in
Right.
6 or 18?
It's in First Kings 17, 1 to 6, and then the second half is 8 to 16.
In First Kings?
17, yeah.
So there's not a Second Kings? Damn, I must, man.
There's another story in Second Kings.
Let me just check quickly. Um, whereabouts is it? Do you know?
The other story, Second Kings, is
Hold on. It
before
is. Yeah,
is
no, it is.
42.
That goes into Elisha. No, yeah, you're right.
Actually, yeah,
Yeah. So the first Kings.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, bro. Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, you had a preset.
Cool.
I think.
Yeah. Just one of the ones listed here. It says First Corinthians 10 and 11. It says, now all these things happen unto them for examples, and they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world come. Right, and admonition goes into exhortation, right? So you got so many different stories, so many different accounts, right, that are written for our exhortation, man, right, to build us up in these last days.
That's right.
so we can meditate on them in these last days, right? And even the examples like you went through there that you just mentioned with the chickens, right? Which you know, well, ain't quails in the same family as chickens or something like that?
I believe so, yeah.
You know, quails and
And the Lord
chickens.
fed the multitude of Israel with the quails, man.
That's it. Yeah, so it's you know,
That good
according
meat.
to East.
They were complaining about the leeks and this and the garlic and all that from Egypt. They were eating good out there, man.
Yeah, which goes to show you, Jake's always been a shalom upon Yabashim Bashar Shalom Kudah, right?
Shbakta.
Jake's always been just murmuring, man. And
Yeah,
Jake's always been scoffing. Jake's always been you know, had a lack of faith, you know.
that's what they're doing now. You know, when you got certain cats out there that meant to be teachers in these other camps, and they're scoffing at the what the mark of the beast is, and they're saying stuff like, "Well, how are you gonna eat?" You know, because why? They're settled here. They're comfortable here. You know, they got their prize on here on this side. You know, and no faith.
Mm.
How are we gonna eat? We're gonna eat in that time the same way that the different accounts that we're about to get into. All right, that the ones that the ones of those that the Lord was protecting, the same way that they ate. You know, different examples. Unless you had something else, we can go into maybe Elijah, the two
Okay.
you mentioned.
Yeah. This is First Kings 17. Might as well just read through it. So it says, and Elijah the Tishbite, it says, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, as Yahweh, a power of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, they shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. The word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. All right. It says, So he went and did according unto the word of Yahweh, but he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook.
So they bring him meat, man.
Mhm.
You know, he was being looked after. I just thought I just saw a brother in it. It's someone that looks
Okay.
yo, but hey, the ravens, man. So the Lord commanded the ravens to actually go and do that. So imagine that. The animals. So you can even have animals. There can be examples when we're in that time when the Lord can command the animals to come and feed you, man.
Mhm.
Okay, it's written. We're reading it right now. That's that account that happened to Elijah. All right, and we just read it in Romans 15:4. The things that are done happened aforetime were written for our learning. Right? Can I just read this quickly? That the elder posts in the chat. Because we were just mentioning them basically them sellouts, them people with no faith. Right? This is Deuteronomy 32:15. But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick. Yeah, man, they're living good. They're doing good over here. Thou art covered with fatness. Then where'd it go? Then he forsook God, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. Yeah. See, our esteem and our trust is in Yahweh Shai. That's the only way. That's the only way that we're gonna make it through this. Okay. If you ain't got Yahweh Shai on your side and helping you, you're not gonna be able to make it through this, man. Okay, through this time that's coming. And in fact, see, look, in fact, let me get a quick precept, right? See, we just read about the chip earlier, right? Okay, all these things that Esau's doing, but what did the Lord say, right, regarding that? Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, this truth, right? I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. How's the Lord going to keep us? How's the Lord going to prevent us from going and doing that? Okay, by sustaining us, by looking after us, by putting in our minds to not do that. You know, we need the protection from the Lord. Okay, it says, which shall come upon all the world to dry them that dwell upon the earth. Okay, so and that's written in red. That's through Yahweh Shai that we're gonna make it through this time. Okay, hey, and you know who is leading us in the wilderness? Yahweh Shai. Okay, ain't nothing changed, man. That's all right. He's our salvation. Okay, Yahweh Shai Shai is our salvation. All right, and that's why these guys out there that reject the Lord. Well, the Lord is the word. The scriptures say, I believe in Proverbs 13:13, I believe, those that despise the word shall be destroyed. Okay, you're going to be caught out there and be destroyed, ultimately. But yeah, we can
That's right. That's right. Back in Kings.
Yeah, Baruch Shah.
Yep. It says back in 1 Kings 17:7 now. It says, and it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath.
If there's been no, the brook dried up, yeah, so you couldn't drink from it anymore. If there's been no rain in the land, when you got no rain, that affects the crops. Okay, it affects vegetation, it affects the animals. You know, that's why in the scriptures, when it says that we're in the kingdom, when certain families don't come up, one of the judgments is what we're going to do is we ain't going to give him no rain.
Yeah.
It says that, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, wow, they ain't going to get no rain. No, think about it. You don't give someone rain, that's going to fuck them up.
Yeah. Because, I was thinking as you're speaking, bro, it's, the apostles speak a lot about, the public fool system, right? As we all call it, right? Because one of the things it stops people from thinking in terms of systems, right? Like you have people that are like, oh, well, I don't drive, so I don't care about, like, for instance, I've got an electric car, so the price of oil doesn't affect me. And it's like, you stupid idiot. All major long haulage is done by trucks, right? Trucks need what? Diesel, right? That's just the best. Yeah, you got people like Elon Musk trying to do the electric, but no, when it comes to like good long range trucks, you need diesel. So if the price of your diesel is going up, guess what? Those trucks ain't going into your large supermarkets into, or in fact, that means your entire logistical system is broken down. Well, I don't know, but when you drive the M1, for brothers abroad, the M1 is basically the main artery motorway through England. But if you drive on the M1 at a certain time, all you're seeing is just trucks after trucks after
That's
trucks
exactly what I
after
just a couple
trucks.
hours ago. That's what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Nothing but trucks. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about, my man, they're just hauling goods and hauling goods. That's what they're doing. But if they was just to stop now, then goods ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You got people sending packages using things like DHL, FedEx. Okay.
Yeah.
When that jet fuel goes to a crazy price and it ain't economically viable anymore, okay, that price is gonna go on who? The consumer.
Exactly.
Because they ain't gonna want to end their business. The shareholders want to still get their money.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna go up. You mentioned people don't know about systems. You got the government talking about potential blackouts. Okay, you had it in Spain, affecting France and things like that.
Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah.
When blackouts happen, okay, meaning, okay, let's say you ain't got no electricity. So people think maybe they can get water. Well, you know what? The water pump systems that bring your mains water is pumped by electricity. So when the electricity goes out, guess what? You ain't getting fucking water.
Yeah.
And you're right, bro, because people don't think on that higher level. What the Lord is building here through the Spirit is the tabernacles of David being brought back up. This is a government. We're thinking on that higher level through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shemiel Shai, through the teachings of our apostles and bishops and elders. We're thinking with a royal mentality. So when you think like that, you look at things on a higher level scope.
And you also realize just how much the Lord has put it in the spirit of Esau to create a trap for this entire system, because it is true. It's like, bro, like fruit and vegetation is all around us. Why do we the different elders say, the apostles and elders says, like, look, why is it that now that the trucks aren't running, we ain't got food anymore, but the food's all around us? It doesn't make any sense. We need the farmer, we don't need the trucker, right? But now that the truck is not running, we don't get food. We don't need the supermarket, right? But food's there, you just can't get to it. And Esau's created a system where we do actually go to him for the want of all things.
Right. You gonna keep
Yeah.
reading? Yep.
Back in 1 Kings 17 and 10. So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in the vessel that I may drink. Right. And I love this. I love this part of the story, man. I absolutely love it because it's just like so many different things happening at the same time. Because in this, in fact, we're gonna read it, we're gonna get into it, right? It says, and as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thy hand. And she said, As the Lord Yahweh, my power liveth, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. Right. So even just the fact that Elijah came at this time, just as she was about to do it, that was salvation for her, right? If you in a kind of way, because she was about to be like, look, man, I guess it's time. And then Elijah just rolled through right on time just to be like, yo, bro, yeah, just make me this, innit?
And
And
it's
she's like, oh,
faith.
yeah, you
Sorry.
got it, you got it, you got it, you got it.
I don't want to cut you off. Go on,
No,
bro.
you got it, bro.
No, I'm just excited because it shows
Mm,
faith, you know? Because he says, what? Behold. So basically, she was like, well, you know what? This is the last bit. This is it. I got a little bit of this. We're going to eat this and we're going to die. We're done.
mm,
It's done out here, But it's going to show faith because he's going to say on the next verse, if you read verse 13,
yep.
yeah, go on,
Says, and Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go do and as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son.
It takes faith when you have nothing as it is. All right, you come across Elijah, right? This man that you come across, and he's like, look, make it for me first.
Mm,
Okay, then go make it for you and your son. All right, that takes faith to do that. All right, it takes selflessness. It takes a lot of things. So this woman, okay, what did she go and do? She actually did it. Okay, but what did the Lord have happen? Which is going to go into it. A miracle happened. Okay, to boost her faith.
yep. Goes on
He
to
said, Elijah,
say,
fear not. Our fear,
mhm,
we only fear Yahweh Shmi Shai. Okay, we don't fear the things that Esau is going to do to us because we know that ultimately it's all the will of Yahweh Shmi Shai, and we're protected. Okay, go on, bro.
yeah. So it goes on to say, and Elijah said on, yeah, so read that. Says 14, for thus saith the Lord power of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that Yahweh sendeth rain upon the earth. And she
That's
went
a
and did
prophecy. So until the Lord sends that water again and everything starts building up again, okay, you are going to be sustained. This is not going to run out. Like what's the best example, man? This is going to be a terrible example, but like, you remember Mary Poppins?
Mm.
She had that bag and like
Yeah.
handing it kept bringing stuff out. It didn't end. This huge bag, right?
Mm.
So you're gonna this never ending meal, this never ending oil. It's there, so you can keep making that bread. You can keep making it, and be sustained. So that's an example. Again, the Lord can have that, man. Okay, you could go to your cupboard and be like, man, I'm down to my last tin or something. Do you know what I mean? I'm down to
Mhm.
my last tin. You know, I got a banana there, a bit of salt. I'm done. I'm through. Okay, you might
That's
close
it.
that. You might close that cupboard and pray to the Lord, and open that cupboard, and it might be full to the brim. It
That's
might be
it. That's it.
so full, the cupboard might burst open with things falling out of it, food.
That's it.
You know, you could be
You-
putting your hand into, you can be pouring the oil, and it looks like it's about to end, but then it just doesn't end. It just keeps pouring.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
miracles, man. We're going into the time of miracles because we're gonna need that. All right. And that's why, by the way, we go through these different examples. Brethren around you know, the believers all around, the elect all around the world, yeah, give different testimonies of different experiences that the Lord puts them through. Okay, and we do these videos, we do these different testimonies. I gave one earlier to bolster the faith of the elect, because we are being looked after in different ways. And these are like, you know, the shit ain't hit the fan like in that on that level, you know. And there's
That's
different
it.
examples of how we're being looked after, you know.
That's it. I was gonna say something because you know what? I was just reading a bit more into this First Kings 17, and I'd always interpreted the two sticks to mean something else, as in like poisonous sticks. But like we're doing some research, and when I read in the NLT, it is just like food, like literal sticks to cook the meal. Just wanted to
Mhm.
make that correction. But then also the wanted to say as well the example that it reminds me of is this scene in Thor in I forget, I don't know if it's Thor, is it Thor Ragnarok? Yeah. Where
Mhm.
basically Thor's drinking the I don't know if you remember Thor's drinking the beer, right? And then as soon as he finishes, he'll take a sip, right? And then you see it's
Mhm.
kind of empty, and then it just like it refills,
Mm.
and it makes me think of that, right? This particular preset as in, just as a
That's a much better example, bro. That's Spirit Daughter. They're Mary Poppins, man. But you know, that's what I can think of, man. You know what I mean? That's a brilliant example, you know?
Good.
Yeah.
Yep. So to finish this one off, right? It's First King 17:16. And the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake by Elijah, right? And in fact, because of what we just read there, let me grab this, right? This is Isaiah 55:11. It says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it, right? So basically, because the Lord had basically spoken, said it ain't gonna fail, that food ain't gonna fail, that oil ain't gonna fail. Guess what? It didn't fail
Right. Right. And
because it was said, it was spoken.
right, that's right. And we're gonna read a scripture towards the end of this lesson, okay, of another thing that the Lord spake, and that's also gonna come to pass as well, you know. But yeah, let's any more on that Elijah, bro?
Ah, that was it on that one.
And then can we go to the when Yahushua was multiplying the loaves and the fish?
Yeah. This is Matthew 14 and 13, right? The pericope says 5,000 men fed. Says, when Yahushua heard of it, since he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart, and when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Yahushua went forth and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, this is a desert place, the times are now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy them victuals.
Okay,
Right?
so the disciples were thinking, well, look, man, like we're in the middle of nowhere, the desert place, you know. We ain't got much supplies. We got to go into town and we got to get some food, because how are people going to eat? We're going to starve out here, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. It says, but Yahushua said unto them, they need not depart, give ye them to eat. And they say unto him, we have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And he said, bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looked up to heaven. He blessed and brake, and gave the loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children.
5,000 men beside women and children was eating what? So that was a lot of people, okay?
Mm.
And they all got fed off of, what was it? 5 loaves and 2 fishes. So the Lord was multiplying that, man. Okay, another example. Okay, and there's many examples. We mentioned the manna from heaven earlier. In the wilderness, we're being looked after. You mentioned the quails. I mentioned the rock with the water. You know,
Yeah. Oh, talk about water.
Go ahead.
Water into wine.
Water into wine. Many men. There's so many examples. So that ain't nothing to the Lord. Nothing ain't impossible with Yahweh Shmi Shai, man.
Mm,
So when we're going into this time now, when Esau's trying to manipulate things and he's gonna try and squeeze people to these harsh situations, look, have faith. Okay, you don't. And the thing is, we have jobs and we earn money and this and that, right? That's all of Yahweh Shmi Shai. The scriptures say to be abound and abased, right?
mm,
You could lose that job tomorrow. Okay. And you know what? Ultimately, when we're going into that time where they're pushing that chip heavy, okay, legislation and all that, you ain't gonna be able to. How are you gonna earn money doing these jobs?
mm.
You ain't gonna be able to have no job that's
Yeah.
linked to the PayY system, and you ain't gonna be able to buy or sell without the chip.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that FRNs and money and digital money, all that's all done. Now,
Mm,
there's gonna be a time when that's done. There's
yeah.
gonna be a
Well,
time when going to the supermarket is done. So you're gonna have to rely solely, okay, as we do today. We still rely on Yahweh Shmi Shai. That
mm,
we still get these things from Yahweh Shmi Shai, okay, through Esau systems that are set up. But when that collapses and you gotta basically do the ultimate sellout and subscribe to him and take his chip, we've been warned to not do that.
mm.
Okay, we know the judgment of that. All right, that's
That's it.
that's against the scriptures, so we ain't gonna do that. All right, and the Lord willing, the Lord is gonna protect us in those times, as it is written, Revelation 3:10. We read it earlier. Okay, we're serving Him faithfully, and we're having faith, and we're believing. All right, and that's gonna continue. That's our mindset. Our mindset even now is, even if you're going through a hard time, you will be looked after. I will say this, yeah, and I'm sure you can attest to this, bro. There's never been a time, even in desperate situations, that I've not been able to somehow get help from somewhere. Whether the Lord is making a situation where I get help, whether it might be through the brethren, wherever it might be, there's always a situation where there's help. You're never completely down and out. And that's a testament to the power of Yahweh Shmi Shai. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. What was I gonna say? It's there was a yeah. So there was a period of time, just basically because it's like there's something about handling cash that's just a bit better for budgeting. It's just I think it's because you physically see it, right? And then you're seeing it go down. So it was a period of time I was like, look, man, F this. Like, I'm just gonna use cash for a little while, right? Try do a little budget thing.
Mhm.
Bro, it it was very difficult to use cash in London. And that's with the cash points, like that's with shops still taking cash. You want worth it, but it's like what you could go into a store and just maybe you're in and out in 2 minutes. Now you're waiting like 10, 15 minutes because you're paying with cash, right? There's gonna come a point where more and more stores become completely cashless, right? Because you got quite a lot of those in London already, where it's just like
Yeah.
they're like, no, we don't take cash in the store, right? And they'll tell you, you see the sign on the door like no cash, etc., etc., etc. Right now, the point that I'm trying to make, I'm trying to build. In fact, there's a second part to this, which is the whole conversation about immigration, right? Because in the UK, you can't have a bank account. They try and make it seem like, oh, immigrants can just come over and just do whatever. Yeah, but those that do that, right, are basically there are systems that ESOT allows in place with the immigration as well as the illegal immigrants to be able to navigate. So you think about, I'm just going to say a lot of sex workers, they'll be kind of in that, but Esau wants them here, which is why he'll let certain avenues like be open for that. But
Yeah.
the point more is in the UK to rent, you have to have certain legal authorization, right? It used to be a physical card, but now it's just what do you call it? It's just a code linked to your biometrics, right? So it's your code, it's got your passport. That code refers to your passport, and then that all has like your biometric data, eyes and fingerprints and all of that, right? To get a job, you need the same authorization right? But like that code basically says whether you can work in the UK and it says whether you can rent in the UK,
Mhm.
right? Now, when you put all of that together, we're now in a place where you won't be able to navigate outside of the system. Because the point I was saying is like when you're looking at those people that are able to navigate through the system, that's via cash in hand. But as ESOL starts choking all more and more and more of these places that will accept cash,
Mhm.
right? Like for instance, in the UK, a number of banks have now, and it's actually kind of like I forgot who said FCA Financial Conduct Authority. Basis like, why is a regular person depositing more than 20 grand in their account, right, in cash, right? So you're seeing more and more banks be like, oh, actually, no, you ain't gonna be able to deposit that much. So all of those people that were doing cash in hand, guess what? They're going to start having to take that cash. And bro, certain shops, especially like you get certain, certain of them kebab shop man, right? They did their best for the longest time to take that cash in hand.
Yeah,
But it
they
got
did.
to a point.
They did. I ran into a kebab man. Man, he owed HMRC a lot. They were doing all kinds of investigations on him.
Mm.
You know, you had the biz. Remember, don't forget the business loans that were given out.
Yep.
The C19 loans, the bounce back loans. You know, all of that. And by the way, these accounts, these businesses, they get charged more for having an account that gets cash in it.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yeah, like for example, I used to work at a bank. I can say that now because I don't work there no more.
Mhm.
And they had two packages for businesses. One was what was called an e-payments plan, and the other one was called a mixed payments plan.
Mm.
The e-payments plan was basically it heavily penalized you if you put cash into your account.
Can.
Charge was ridiculous. But if you was putting electronic money through, completely free. Then you had the mixed payment plan, which still charged you for putting cash in, but didn't heavily charge you. But it also charged you for putting electronic in. So it put people that when did a cash business, barbers, kebabs, or whatever, it put them in a situation which made it cost for cash.
Mm.
Okay. So a lot of people don't put their cash into their accounts. That causes problems with HMRC. Do you know what I mean? That just causes people problems. It's a backlash of problems. So now you got to spend that cash. Well, if the places that you're spending the cash are becoming little more less and less, what are you gonna do? Like you said, they've been for the longest, they've been trying their best. Well, it's getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
Everything is becoming harder. Even my father said it the other day. He's how old is he now? He's 66 years old. And he was saying, man, everything's become harder. Just everything,
Mm.
you know? And he's retired. He just, he said that. And I said, well, yeah, you know, I've been
Yeah.
saying it for years anyway.
Yeah.
But everyone's seeing it, man. My dad, he don't know the truth. He's not in the truth. So people in the world are seeing it.
Can I grab this?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Revelation 6 and
And
6.
we're gonna get that precept that I mentioned, and I'll call it, and then we'll close up soon. Yeah.
Okay. Revelation 6 and 6. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Right. I wanted to get it because talking about being harder. And what this precept is going into is basically to the point where, this penny represents a day's wage, right? Right. So denarius containing 10, right? So this is from the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages, right? So basically saying wheat was how much someone earns in a day. That's how much wheat would cost,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we're coming.
Yeah, you got it. Sorry.
So like, yeah, no, I'm saying that's where we're coming to, man. We're coming to the point where it's just like, because even just the regular cost, like for instance, people talking about it online recently, how they're in at least in the UK, the financial suggestion was that you would spend up to 30% of your what do you call it, of your income on living on like your rent, right?
Mhm.
That was like the affordability standards, right? But that 30% that was the ceiling,
Mhm.
right? Whereas for most people now, that's just like the baseline, right? Because it's like things are getting so hard that actually most people are actually are over that 30% because it is so expensive to live right nowadays. And East, once again, Israel has designed it so.
That's right. I was gonna say if we can get Isaiah 65, please,
Okay.
which the elder actually posted it earlier in the chat. But
Yeah.
that's the kind of last scripture I wanted to close out with because it wraps everything up in the spirit.
Cool.
Right. This is Isaiah 65 and 13. Therefore, thus say, remember you read about it earlier that the words of the Lord don't go out void. So this is a prophecy of the Lord, right?
Mm.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shai, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. So the others are going to be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but you shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but you shall be ashamed. So the people are going to be messed up out here. We're going to be rejoicing because we're going to be getting miracles. We're going to be looked after. We're going to be eating. We're going to be getting all praises to Yahweh Shai. Miracles is going to boost our faith even more in that trying time. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. And if I can build on that, it's like, the parable in Second Ezra, the seventh chapter, where it's like, water on the one side, fire on the other,
Right.
right? But if you don't go through it, right, how are you going to get to the city on the other end?
Right.
Right. And like, let's be real. It's like we are all going to be affected by this thing that's happening in Iran. I mean, prices right now the oil has gone up. So petrol prices have gone up, but it's like when you're once again when you're looking at the analyses, it's like, yo, there's a lot coming down the pipe, right? But even then, we're like, yo, it's one step towards prophecy. Like,
Right.
the armies are in the right region, right? And this, that, and the other, and then you're seeing basically America's influence and perception globally change. Like you just had the Taiwanese opposition leader. It does no, it was yeah, Taiwanese opposition leader. It does have to be stressed, but she went to mainland, to mainland China.
That's a
Well,
big move.
yo, what's up, man? Right? I can tell you, bro. Korea's pissed off because they spent basically China said to Korea, look, man, you're not putting THAAD system, otherwise issues. Korea was like, no, we're going to put the THAAD system, right? The air defense system that America gave them. And then basically China like closed down the Hyundai and Kia plant in China, right? Hyundai and Kia being Korean companies. They basically made tourism a lot less, and then those basically it cost Korea billions upon billions of dollars, and then America just said, "Nah, Israel's more important. We're gonna we're gonna remove it." Right? So the Koreans are pissed. Right? Japan, they get 90% of their petroleum from the Strait of Hormuz, right? And once again, that THAAD system was also supposed to kind of help protect Japan. So Japan's annoyed.
America's stretched thin.
Yeah.
You're complaining about Europe. You got the Ukraine situation still going on. You got Iran. Okay, you got situations all around. You got the South China Sea, China. So you're going into it. So look, things are stretched thin, man. Okay, you got armies going over to the Middle East. You got all kinds of things gonna. These are all prophecies. Things are gonna happen. Okay, this is what we're waiting for. But the main thing is the chip. We're waiting for the chip first, and everything Esau's doing now is pushing towards that. Okay, all kinds of distractions. Okay, all kinds of steps forward towards the microchip implant technology. With these different companies, and when you look at Elon Musk and the things that he's doing with Neuralink, we're in that time. But through that, the Lord said that He's going to basically look after us, man, if we have faith. And you know what? Look, we're not invested in this place. We don't care about this place. We just do what we got to do, just in wisdom to get by.
Yeah.
But we don't rely on this place. We don't trust in its systems. We know that it's all bullshit and it's all wicked, and we can't wait to get out of here, man. So, like you were saying, when the prophecies come, hey, look, ultimately we're joyful when we see the prophecies coming. We know it's one step closer to our Lord returning and saving us.
That's right.
Do you have any closing precepts or statements, bro?
No, that's it. I mean, but let's read verse 14. I'll read verse 14. We didn't finish this one. And Isaiah 5:14, part of my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but he shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit.
Yeah.
That's it.
People
We're
are
gonna
gonna
be joyous, man.
but we're gonna be rejoicing, singing psalms and all sorts, man.
Oh, happy days.
Good, bro. Smiles all around, man. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So see, the people that are smiling now and thinking that they got it, well, they ain't got it, they're gonna be fucked up. Okay. We've been suffering, but you know what? Our suffering is coming to an end soon.
Mm.
We just got to go through that, like you said, the water on one side, fire on we that's what we're going through right now. And ultimately,
Exactly.
when you get through it, you get to the kingdom, man. You know, that's what that parable goes into. So yeah, man, you know, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, and exhortational. And you know, with that, man, you know, we're gonna say shalom, yeah, shalom to the Lord's elect.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yeah,